Okay, it's time to start. Good morning, sir. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. So it's a pleasure again. It's great to have you all here. We know it's a long week. It's a beautiful day outside, and we're all here together. Isn't that amazing? So I think it's just a joy to be here together. Seeing so many friendly faces around and smiles and other spirits that are here to participating with us in this morning of study and understanding. So thank you all for coming. And today we're going to have a lecture by our friend Marcio, which is going to talk about the Penal Code or future life. So for those of you who don't know, actually there is a structured Penal Code for the future life, which kind of gives it's in the book Heaven and Hell, and it brings us this very interesting idea of what's going to happen next, depending on what I do now, which is something that all of us kind of intrigued about. All of us kind of always think about. And Marcia's going to go over that. So, but before that, we're going to have our initial reading, and Aline will do it for us, followed by our initial prayer, which is going to be by Katarina, and then we're going to go right into the lecture. After the lecture, we're going to have our passes, and then you're going to have a chance to ask questions afterwards. Okay?
Good morning. From the book Happy Life by Divaldo Pereira Franco and Joana de Angelis. Be open to new ideas. Discuss them, compare them with what you know and think. Get the most benefits possible of the information and it's new to you. Healthy ideas renew the emotions and supply feelings with enthusiasm. Nobody is so wise that they not to need to learn more, or to complete that they can dispense with other contributions to their inner realm. Learn more to be receptive to new contributions.
Dear friends, let's all now continue with this positive and beautiful vibration that's starting with this meeting now. Let's all keep our thoughts in a higher level, connecting with our guides, our spirit friends that helped us today to make a decision in life to be here. As Marco said, in this beautiful day outside, we could have been doing so many other things, but instead, we chose to be here to listen to lessons led by our Master Jesus. And let's congratulate all of us for being here at this moment, at this little simple school where we come to learn little things day by day. So let's all send our best thoughts to Marcio, who's going to present, I'm sure, a beautiful lesson that will give us a little thing to think and bring home to try to put in practice in our daily lives. With happiness and peace in our heart, let's all give a start to this day. So be it.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm very, very happy to be here today. Have new faces today and very, very old faces of me today here. So I'm very, very happy to be doing this lecture today. Okay, so as Mark said, we're going to talk about the Penal Code of future life and understand the consequence of our actions. So we always have this question: what happened once we die, right? What's going to happen next? And for many, many years we learned about the hell, the heaven. We're not going to touch that topic. It's part of the book that we are studying this month. This month the theme is Heaven and Hell, the book from Allan Kardec. and I'm just touching some topics, but you're gonna see a little bit about that as well. You can have some thoughts, some insights about it. Okay. All right. So let's start it. So before we go to that topic, let's try to understand a little bit what future life means for the Spiritism and what this future punishments, that is the Penal will show us a little bit from the Spirit's book. So there's two questions there about it. First one is question 959. Also does man derive the instinctive sentiments of future life from the knowledge, so that's the question, the rest would be, from the knowledge of that life possessed by his spirit previous to his incarnation, the soul retaining a vague remembrance of what is new in spirit stage. So, you know, all the Native Americans or the Greek, all of them, their cultures, they from many years before Jesus, they have that inside them, right? So who did them, right? It's something that is inside of all of us. We know that, you know, it's part of us. And we always is looking for that better life, you know, just something better than what we live here, we would find in when we disincarnate, right? So then we have another question, just the next one, that say, whence comes the belief belief in future rewards and punishment, which is found among our nations, all nations? It is a presentiment of the reality imparted to each man by the Spirit incarnate in him. This internal voice does not speak to him without a purpose. He is wrong in giving so little heed to it. If they listen to it more often and more heedfully, it would be better for him. So again, it's imprinted in our conscience, you know, the existence of a punishment or something better. So everybody, for many years, all the cultures have this thing that if you don't do, and we learned that, right, who came from Catholicism and or many other religions, we have this, you know, if you don't do good, you go to the hell. If you're a good boy, that's what I learned when I was a kid. If you're a good boy, you go to hell, to heaven. So, and we are all expecting that, right? The rewards of all the good that we do here, that we try to do here. And then, now going to the heaven and hell, it's that in the beginning, chapter 6, if I'm not wrong, they show us a little bit about how all this knowledge progress, right? Because it's not if we from the Spirit's book we learn about the law of progress, we're gonna see that we are not always the same, right? We are progressing. We are getting better and better. Like our science, like our the civilizations, everything is progressing, right? So the same thing happened with our understanding about future life and future punishment. So when we are in the beginning of our existence as a spirits, when God created us, we are created all ignorant and pure, right? So when we are ignorant, we need different things, right? And then they bring to us in this book this sentence saying, the doctrine of eternal punishment, like that of a physical hell, was useful, while the intellectual and moral backwardness of mankind required that they should be held in check by the fear and incurring the doom that's held up before their imagination. So while we are ignorant, that's what we needed at that time, so as much ignorant we are, we're more close to the material things, right? We're very close, not the material, the need for money and this kind of things that we talk a lot these days about the materialism, right? But the material need to be in nerve, to not understand the spiritual life, and the best that we understand and what's happening here right? In this material world that we live today, right? And that we have been living for many, many years. So this understanding of punishment, the term punishment, was needed at that time. You know, imagine the how primitive people were, and you know, when you talk about killing someone, you know, many, many years ago, it was fine, it was okay, it happens. These days, if you say, you know, some like the kid that was shooting the other day, everybody's shocked with that. You know, we don't expect that to happen anymore because of the law of progress. Right? We don't expect that anymore. So that was the beginning. And then we have Moses, who brings some more laws to us, you know, more structure. We have the 10 Commandments to help us. And it says, the draconian legislation of Moses, which represented the divine being as a jealous and revengeful God, scarcely suffice. So many different words here. He said, surface, thank you, to keep within bounds of stiff-necked people whom each his charge. The gentle doctrine of Jesus would have awakened to echo this, their hearts on would have been powerless to influence their actions. So, you know, maybe you can say, you know, Moses, he bring those laws, and then Jesus came and transformed that into, but that, again, that was the moment, that moment they needed that 10 things. That when we start to progress a little bit more and understand that here other people is not good, you know, that we need to do, to be good for mothers and fathers. And all of that was necessary at that time. And of course, they were better than the beginning, you know, and we continue to do that. So, and when Jesus came, he bring a lot of another things for us, new things, new teachings for us. Sorry. So he says, the book bring to us that at the time when Jesus came among them, it was possible for him to proclaim a merciful God, to speak of his kingdom as not being of this world. So, to say to me, love one another and return good for evil. Whereas under the Mosaic dispensation, God was represented as sanctioning the principle of revenge, summed up in the dictum, eye for eye, a tooth for a tooth. So at that time, Jesus could bring a new teaching for us, right? And telling us, let's love each other. That's better than, you know, just trying to revenge with each other. Like every time that we do something, you know, do something to us, and we go and do the same thing to them. You know, we don't. People are not accepting that anymore. So Jesus could come and bring this new lesson, and everybody would understand it better. And if you read the Bible and all the books from that talk about Jesus, you're gonna see that Jesus was teaching us through parables, and he said that, you know, if he bring everything, we wouldn't understand at that time. We are not ready at that time, right? So this is a little bit about how things are progressing, and we're gonna start to talk a little bit about the Spiritism view on this. But if you read again our books on Spiritism, you're gonna see there's some questions on Spirit's books, for example, that they say that we're not ready for the answer yet. So even in Spiritism, when it brings new teachings for us, there is two things there. It's not clear just because they're not ready, right? So before we start to go through the deferred punishment and, you know, the penal code, we need to understand the law of action and reaction, right? You know, and we cannot start to talk about it without talk about what is that? Free will. We need to understand our free will. Free will, it's for us. It's really important to understand that everything that we do, there is a consequence, right? And that's, so we have our free will to decide if we're gonna do that or not. You know, when we think about something that I'm gonna do this, and our conscience come to us and tell us, you know, I don't think that's good, or our conscience can come and tell us, you know, this is good. Go ahead, that will be a good thing. You know, and we can have this judgment and this balance between good and evil inside our conscience, and we can make a decision if we're gonna do that or not. That's our free will. You know, we always have our free will to make decisions. If it was not our free will, we would be like computers, right? Like robots, just doing whatever who else would come and tell us. And that's not what God wants for us, right? God created all of us as spirits, and He gave us the opportunity to do the good and to progress towards the perfection. And so it's our free will that will help us to understand the action we have. So whatever we do, we're gonna get back that. Whatever thing that we do wrong, we will need to deal with the consequences of that. And whatever we do good, we'll get rewarded by that. That's the good part, in my opinion. And we get rewarded for the good thing. So, and many times, you know, we see here, you know, this guy dropping the dominoes, and then he will be hit by one at the end, right? That is the actual reaction, and most of the time that we think, you know, we always think about bad things. You know, I did that bad, our karma. We're always thinking about our karma. But I like to think as well that the good always comes. So we can have a positive karma. Imagine we did so many good things that our karma next life will be perfect. Everything good will come to us. So that's a little bit about. Let me see my notes if I didn't forget anything. I never know. Yeah. So one thing that is important to think, you know, I mentioned about our decisions, the good decisions, bad decisions. What is a good decision? What is a bad decision, right? And a few weeks ago, last month, we had a lecture here about the it was about the good and the evil, something like that. I was presenting. I forgot it. I don't remember the topic, but we talk about the good and the evil. And everything that is good, to the easiest way to know it's good or it's bad, it's we're following the God's laws, right? In the Spirit's book, we have all the laws there, and it's very, you know, structured way that you can easily understand the laws. So we do encourage everyone to take a look on the Spirit's book, go for the laws, because it's so simple to do a good, and we have the laws, right? So we just need to follow them. And as Mark said, we have the penal code, right? If you have laws, like here on earth, we have the laws, and then we have the penal code. And reading through these chapters, it's chapter 7, and it talk a lot about, it's a mix of everything, you know. You're gonna see some stuff that is like what we still need to know, to have a fear a little bit. Sometimes it's very, you know, you feel bad about what you're gonna read. Not bad, but you can feel fear from that. But there is a lot of good things that if you turn that to a positive way, it's very positive, the things that we can learn here. So I try to cluster the topics, the codes in a way that we can better understand and bring in topics. You know, otherwise we're gonna read a lot of things that we need to go to everything in the book. But the first piece, the first 5, for me, talks a little bit about the perfection and imperfection, what that is, what perfection is, what is this perfection that we're trying to get, right? And then the first one, it says, each disincarnate spirit undergoes in the spiritual world the consequence of the various imperfection of which he has failed to cure himself during this earthly time. So, whatever we do here, whatever we do in earth as an incarnated spirit, we're gonna suffer for that and the consequence of that. Or in this life, we can suffer in this life. We can get back in this life. By the way, Duval Frank was telling in one of the lecture that he gave. I was watching YouTube. He says exactly that. That the majority of the consequence we take in this life, the life that we are, not always in the spiritual world. We can think that whatever we do here will be okay, and then I deal with that when I incarnate. It's not that simple. It comes in this life as well. And so the first thing is that we're gonna see all the consequences of what we do in the spiritual world as well. In perfection, the perfect happiness belongs exclusively to the state of perfection, that is to say, of the spirit's complete purification. We are in earth, right? We know that earth is a world that we are here to learn. We are here to expiate our mistakes. So we're not completely happy. We're not perfect happy like he describes here. So we need to understand that life will not be easy, but what is important for us is how we deal with that. How close to God we're going to be, following His laws, going through all this experience that we have to. We're here for that, so we need to go and be as happy as we can. And being happy that we are here, being able to go for that and become a better spirit, right? I think that for me is the big lesson of this one, because it's not perfect work, but it can be perfect for us. It is perfect for us, right, to get better and continue our progress. And then 3, 4, and 5, let's see what they say. The amount of spiritual suffering is thus exactly proportionate to the degree of his imperfection. And the amount of spiritual happiness is exactly proportionate to the degree of intellectual and moral advancement. So, very simple, right? Everything that we do, good or bad, have their consequence exactly the same level. In virtue of the law of progress, each spirit having the power of acquiring the good qualities which he lacks, and to him to rid himself of his bad ones, according to this force of will and the amount of effort it makes for that purpose, the gate of hope and happiness is open to every creature. And last one, suffering being indissolubly connected with imperfection and enjoyment with excellence, the soul finds its own Marco, help me here. Chastisement, thank you, in itself, wherever it may be, and needs no circumscribed place as the scene of its suffering. So, when I was reading this tree, it automatically brings to me the law of action and reaction, right? So whatever we do, we were gonna suffering for that in the same proportion, and the punishment or the rewards, like to always include the word reward as well, because as much as we're talking about the future punishment, we have the opposite side, right? That's the reward. So we're gonna get the reward as well. And God always gives us the chance, right? We always have the chance to do the good. Every single second of our lives, through a thought or through someone that comes to you, you have the opportunity to do the good. A simple prayer is a very good thing that we can do. You know, when you're alone, nothing better than a prayer, right? So we always have these opportunities, and we need to take those opportunities. God is always helping us in that.
So number 5 is interesting too, because what it's saying is that if I really don't have my will and efforts to do something, to be better, which is number 4 is saying, independently of where I am, which is a circumscribed place or scene, I will be dealing with the consequence, which means that I can be in the happiest place in the world, but I'm going to be sad. I'm going to be in a suffer state of mind. Because independently of what is around me, I am going to be within myself feeling the consequences of the actions that I've done or that I haven't done. So that explains a lot about the images of the hell that you see in literature sometimes. Because again, it doesn't matter where you go, it doesn't matter where you are as a spirit afterwards. When you look inside yourself, you're going to be dealing with the consequences of your own conscience. So that will be your hell.
Yeah.
And you can picture that, you can picture that image around you and live like in a black, dark place. Although you can be in one of the most sunshine-lit area. Right? So I think that's very interesting.
Yeah. So then the second piece here is about good and evil. And the first one said the good or the evil that we do is the result of the good or evil qualities possessed by your spirit. So everything is inside us, right? It's our experiences. Like everything that we do in this life or previous life, we learn from that, right? So if you go and put your fingers in the plug, we're gonna have an electrical shock, right? And you can do it again if you want, but you know that it's not. You learn that it's part of you. Okay. Another thing about good and bad and evil that is important for us to understand is not doing the good is also evil. You know, if you just say, you know, I'm not doing what the other guys are doing, but I'm not doing nothing to help the person that, you know, is being punched or whatever. If you're not helping others, it's not doing the good as well. You know, just stay at home doing nothing. It's not good. So we got punished for that as well. We got punished for not doing the good. You know, it's not God punishing us, as Mark was saying. It's ourselves punishing ourselves because we're gonna feel bad for not doing anything. You know. And let's go ahead. A spirit suffers through the evil that he has done. So that's what I was just saying, that we feel the consequence, we feel bad for that, you know. And for me, it's a very simple example is when we do something wrong in our work, the first thing that you're thinking is, you know, my boss will fire me, and you got, you know, thinking again about that problem and do not stop thinking about that. So that is how things happen, you know. We keep that in our conscience and we want to get out of that, right? So that is our punishment. It's ourselves punishing us through our thoughts, through our conscience. Number 8, the justice of God being infinite, as exact account is given for each soul of the good and the evil done by it in the course of its earthly life. So God is really good for us, right? He's doing everything right. And when I was reading this, I was thinking about I think more here in North America, we have that board with the kids that you put the stars and you take all the stars depending on what they did or they didn't, right? So I was imagining something like that. You know? I have a board here, and every time that I do something right, I get a star. If I do something wrong, they take me out the star. And so for the now it's Holy Spirit, for all of us, every time that we do something good, there is kind of a progress. Everything that we do good is a little bit of progress that we do. And that imprinted us and keep in our conscience, right? So God will use that for their angels to remind us of that. And that's how God helps us all the time. He brings that, remember that you did? Remember how you feel? And that's how we start to continue. So every single good thing that we do is a little bit of progress that help us to continue going forward. Right. Then I bring the 21 to this group. I thought it was a little bit related to this. So it says each spirit is responsible only for his own wrongdoing. So yeah, I'm not responsible for what my wife does wrong, unless there is an unless there. I'm contributing to that. Yes, I was looking to the word here. It doesn't work for me. That if I'm not, it's like the accomplice of a crime, right? You may not doing anything, but you were there contributing to that thing happen. So we gotta pay for that. If you like, it's similar to what you're not doing good. If you're not doing good, you're not doing that. So if you're contributing, it's bad. It's evil. You're gonna pay for that. So that's important for us to know that we're not responsible, but we cannot contribute to that.
You're not fully responsible.
You're not fully responsible, exactly.
Our law system is similar,
Yeah.
but it's still very imperfect, immature in that sense. If you understand that God's perfect, then you kind of have an idea of what does that mean, which basically is saying will be responsible for exactly what you've done or you haven't done, right? So there's like proportionate percentages of culpability for each one of those actions,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Sure.
half star taken out.
Yeah, exactly, like a quarter of the star.
Okay. So then we talk a lot about penalty and expiations. I think in the beginning, when I started Spiritist, a lot of things that I heard about was, your karma. You are here to pay for what you got. So it explain a little bit about that, what that means, right? So item 9. He would pay his debt in the present life, will not have to pay in any future one. So we are here, we spend some time here on earth. Let's do our best to fix whatever we did, our debts that we have, right? So as I said, Givaldo Franco mentioned that we usually pay for whatever we did in this life, so it's better pay here, right? Instead of need to come back and go through everything all over again. So it's better to fix whatever we need to in this life. A spirit undergoes the penalty of his debt, defects both in the spirit world and in the life on the flesh. So we can immerse in these bad things, in a bad vibration, even if we are incarnated, right? If you go to a place, you probably had this feeling that sometimes you're in a place, you don't feel very, very well there, you don't feel that it's okay. So that is because we are all immersed in the same thing. There's no, like Mark was saying, there's no hell or heaven. It's our spirit, it's how we feel. So depending on how people are feeling in a specific place, you can feel that and you can be in the hell with them. So it can happen here or in the spirit world. So don't think that you're gonna get the hell only when you disincarnate here in earth. We can have that as well in our minds. Everything can be in our minds. And then 11, the expiation of wrongdoing varies according to the nature of the gravity of the offense committed. So, what do you need to go through
because as an expiation, it will depend on the wrongdoing that we made. So everything is balanced, and as Mark was saying, God is just is very just. So it will not be. Everything will be balanced according to that. But we cannot think that that person has a very nice life, that everything is perfect. You need to go for that and make sure that he's doing good through the life that he or she is living. So, how long it can take, right? The punishment can take. So these 4 items will tell a little bit about this. In regard to the nature and duration of the future punishment, there is no absolute and uniform rule. So it's not that simple. And the duration of punishment depends entirely on the more or less rapid self-amendment of the spirit by whom it has been incurred. So
Basically here is that it's not God who defines how long it will take or not. It's ourselves, right? So it's how fast we understand what we did wrong, and we try to fix it. How fast we remove that sentiment, remove that feelings from us, and start to do good. So that is how fast when we understand, oh, I did that wrong, and I want to fix that. That's the moment that your experiences your punishments start to reduce. Okay. So it's 14. The duration of Spirit's punishment depends solely on his own delay in working out his own reformation. So yeah, we can understand, but if we don't do nothing, it will continue, right? Your conscience will continue thinking, I did that wrong, and go from that on punishment. So we need to work and make sure that our reformation starts as soon as possible. And we start to do the good, and start to do do unto others what we want others to do to us, right? And then at 15, one of the conditions inherent in the Spirit's moral inferiority is inability to foresee the end of his suffering, and this inability leads him to believe that it will last forever. So here it's important to understand that it's the belief that it will last forever, right? It's nothing will happen forever, and this punishment will never be forever, because delay of progress, right? We need to progress, we need to move on. So we believe that it will be forever, but it's not really forever. So then it starts to talk about the reparation, how we get out of that. And we start very simply saying repentance, expiation, and reparation are the 3 conditions necessary for the effacing of a fault and the suppression of its consequence. So the repression, be sorry for what you did wrong is the first step. We recognize that I did that wrong. That's the first step. And then we have the expiation, that is kind of task that we go through. So did you really learn that we shouldn't do that? And then we have the reparation that we start, we really learned that, and we start to do the good for us. So we're not only not doing that, but we are doing, helping others who's going through that, for example. 17, repentance may begin the spirit life or in the life of the flesh, and at any period. So any time we can do that. If it's spirit repentance is he suffered for a longer time. Of course, if we don't understand that, we continue going through that over and over. 19 and 20. A spirit always possesses his free will, and its improvement is therefore sometimes slow in his persistence in evil very genius. So
whatever may be a spirit's inferiority and perversity, God never abandoned him. So this G for me, it's very linking. We're never alone, right? So we know that we have our mentors, our guard angels, whatever name we want to give them, past friends, wherever. So God gave these spirits to help us to going through. So while you're here, there is a spirit that is maybe incarnated with us, right? And we have a very good spirit friend that come to help us to go through that. Of course, free will is there. It's always our decision at the end, but we have a lot of support. We have the mentor, the spiritual mentor. We have friends that come and incarnate with us. I don't know if you guys read or saw the movie No Solar, where that family that was hosting Andrea Luiz, the grandmother and two friends and relative there in the spiritual world incarnate with her to help her granddaughter. So it's a very good example that we're never alone, and God helped us put in this motivated spirits that went through some experience that can help us.
Yeah. So I like one image that I'd like to represent this is that when you have like this kid that's throwing out this tantrum, and that's mom and dad are there sharing love and talking to them, trying to explain and calm them down, but they're in a tantrum, right? So basically, that represents a spirit that, for us, it may look like doing something very, they're learning, they're going through that process. They're being loved all the time, but they are doing a tantrum. Eventually, that's going to end, and everything's going to be all love again. So it's just similar to God and us. We throw up tantrums all the time, right? Sometimes we throw it for a long time, like evil spirits, maybe thousands of years before they end up their bad behavior, and then they understand that, well, that's what I have to do, right? So we're basically like kids.
Yeah,
That's the image that represents that.
that's true. The last two in this part, the only way to avoid or to lessen the painful consequence that our defects may entail upon us in our future life is to free ourselves from those defects as far as possible in our present life. The situation in which a spirit finds himself on his entrance into spiritual life exactly what him has made it for himself by his actions in earthly life and has quitted. So here's just as soon as we start to do the good and go for the good things, we get out of that, and whatever situation we're living and we get on this earth will bring us, will remember when we incarnate. Like there's a lot of spirits that they don't understand what is going on, and they keep living their lives as if nothing had happened. They don't understand. They start to understand probably when they start to talk to someone and someone knows that, right? We have something moves around that. It's funny but at the same time it's sad because they don't know what's going on, right? And it's very bad. So as there's for me here, there's two things. One is, we as soon as we do better, when we disincarnate, we'll be in a better place. But at the same time, as soon as we learn about this, all of this, as soon as we understand what's gonna happen, better, right? So the jail, what it is. Next one's about that. Then I read this three first. Spirits of slight advancement are excluded from the happier world, though whose harmony would be impaired by their presence. They therefore remain in worlds of corresponding low degree. Although the punishment is the spiritual world are indefinitely various, there are some which inherent in the backwardness of the spirits, and which being the consequences of what state of inferiority are in the men the same for all spirits of that degree. Spirits of low moral advancement frequently fancy themselves to be still living the earth, for what I just said. But now, the three for me is like almost the same thing. Saying together as Mark was saying, there is no hell. There's no place where we will be, and like I don't know. In Brazil, we used to say, when I die, I want to go to hell and I'm going to find all my friends there. That's not real. So, it's our mind set up when we disincarnate, right? We can, a criminal, he or she can go through the same scene all over and over and over again. And that's his or her hell, right? And in the beginning, they said that we don't go to hell through words. We were not ready for that. We don't understand what that is, right? All of imperfections don't let us understand what that is. So we'll keep in our minds, as the spirits, going through the same thing. Okay. 24, for the criminal, in the incessant sight of the victims and the place of circumstance of crimes is the mode hovering of torture. Imagine how bad it would be, you understand that is not good, and you keep going for the same thing again and again and again, and suicide, for example, that may be, I don't want to go through that, and we have a lecture about this the other day, but it must be very hard to see the same thing. When you die, you think everything will be over, and then it's just repeating and repeating the same thing again. So that is our jails in our punishment at the same time. So it's happening in the same. So your jail is the jail of the spirit will be the same place that he's trying to get out when was in life. The two last ones. Some spirits are plugged in utter darkness, plunged in utter darkness. Others are in a state of complete isolation, alone in the midst of immensity, tormented by the ignorance in which they find themselves in regard to their whereabouts and the fate that may be await them. He brought all of himself during his earth life. No one will think of him or commiserate him after his death. So imagine those spirits that are so selfish, didn't do anything good for other people. What's going to happen? Nobody will pray for that person, right? How bad that could be. Again, not the same movie, the same book, Nosso Lar, where André Luiz didn't get one prayer from his family, right? The only prayer that he got was for the lady that he was helping her husband. So again, he was alone. He didn't know where to go, who would help him, until the moment that he realized that. So we keep in that darkness or isolate in our minds, going through the same thing over and over until the moment that we understand. So whatever we do in life, we're gonna go. Okay. So these are the there's one more. Okay, so the judgment. So what happened? God, Jesus go there and gonna say, you try to see, go to that place. No, Mark, that other place. No. That's not what happened. So these items will explain us a little bit about that. So the mercy of God is undoubtedly infinite, but it's not blind. So, as I say, God has always had a door open for us, right? A door open for us to learn, to progress, to do the good. So, and it's our own judgment that keep us in the hell or in the hell, right? It's our understanding of the God's laws, understanding that we didn't do something right, that we will that we will judge ourselves. Okay. The providential punishment of wrongdoing being temporary and subordinate to the repentance and reparation which depend on the free will of the wrongdoer. Those punishments are only again this word, cashment, of wrongdoing and the medicines which will cure the moral malady to which the wrongdoing is doing. So here it's saying that it's our free will that will help us, right? So it's our free will and our own understanding that will help us to get out of that. It's the medicine is in the same place where we can the punishments come from. You know, we can understand through our experiences, going through the same thing and trying to do better the next time, that our medicine will come from. All right, so going through again for some experience that we didn't do it right the first time will help us to, when we disincarnate again in the next life, the next time, we'll get something better because we did right the next time. Maybe not next time, it takes 10 times. It always in the life of flesh, the spirit repairs the evil he has done in his former fleshly existence, and that is he puts in practice the resolution he has formed in the spiritual life. Mankind is imperfect and as such are subject to vicissitudes, more or less painful. This is a fact that we must accept because it exists. So we judge ourselves. It's our unconscious bring us again and again and again the same situations that we live in Earth. So we just need to understand that while we're here, we need to go in the best way for everything that we need to get through, because that's life. Okay. So these are the 32 items from the Penal Code. We went through everything, and before we finish, this presentation was really hard for me to do because I don't know. Most of the time when you're preparing a presentation, you pretty much know what you're going to talk and etc. And for me, it was really hard because as much as I saw all the 32, it's supposed to be very simple. We have 32. We go talk about all of them. That's it. It was really hard for me. And last night, when I was in bed thinking about the presentations later, it will not be good at all. And I had an insight, that we are progressing, right? So I have literally this thing that we're progressing, we're very close, we're almost there. So I'm thinking that the next time that we're gonna hear about it, it will be different. I think it will be, we're gonna talk less about punishment. I think that we're still talking about punishments here in churches, and we'll talk more about rewards. That is trying to see the opposite side of all of this. Like when we talk about the perfection and imperfection, and we're gonna talk more about how to keep doing good, right? Today we are still doing bad things, so we need to learn how to stop doing that. But in the future, I'm hoping that we can start to talk more about how to keep that good every single day. When we talk about the good and the evil, we're gonna talk just about the good, right? If we're not here anymore, so we continue talking about that. Penalties and expiations, we're gonna start to talk about how collectively we can help each other, right? How we can help each other to continue doing the good and continue going to the perfection. Punishment duration. We will not talk about punishment duration. We're going to talk about more how we can faster get to the perfection, right? And reparation for the evil is, again, how we can do more good, more and more. The jail, there is, we talk a lot about the hell, everybody goes to hell, blah, blah, blah. And we're going to talk about how the happy words are, how it's to be there. I start to understand that a little bit more. And the judgment, we're going to start to talk about promotion, right? How can I get to the next level of good? And instead of getting out of the judgment side and start to see, doing better and better and better. So, last night I almost started all over again with presentation, but it would take a lot of work, and I would not be ready for today. But I like to think that, we are closer to get out of this stage of thinking about punishment and talk more about reward, how we can help each other more and more, to do the good. So that's what I have for today. I hope you have enjoyed it and learned a little bit. And I think we can questions, right? Have some time for questions. Yeah.
Yep.
Any question? Was that clear?
Very, very good. For sure.
So I
Any
think
comments?
Yeah, it's just more like a comment. So it's interesting to see how we, in the beginning, where we needed someone to tell us, don't do this because you're gonna be burning the rest of your existence, right? Because it kind of shook us up a little bit, saying, like, can you see the fire? The fire burns. So if you do evil, you're gonna burn in eternal fire. So it was a very direct. You can't misunderstand that. It's like, oh, I'm not gonna do this because fire is not good, and I know burning is not good, so I'm not gonna do it. I'm not really learning. So this is the most fundamental changes, I think, because I'm not really learning that I have to do good because good is good. I'm learning that, well, I should try to do it at least because I don't want to burn myself. So then later on, Jesus came and completely revamped that and say, well, you got to do good, not only to you and to others, to everyone, because that's how we have to live. We have to live by the law of love, which is completely transformed. And now, a little bit more maturing, like we're maturing that idea into, well, so if you do good, of course good things will happen. But if you still cannot do it, at least try to do it, and you'll be responsible for the consequences of what you do and what you don't do. So again, you see how it's like, really like going back to the image of a kid, is exactly the same thing. The kid's gonna fall somewhere, and they know it's gonna hurt, so they're not gonna try to do it. They will probably fall once or twice, and then they say, okay, I'm done, I'm not gonna do this again, right? And then you tell them, don't do it, because this is gonna happen to you, which is not, they're not really learning, they're just scared. And then later on, we start to get more mature, at least we try, and we're gonna think, okay, so I have to do as best as I can always, right? Because that's how I
the point
evolve.
when you learn, right? When you
Yeah.
change yourself, while you are still in that stage that you are not doing good because you are worried about a punishment from God, you are not really learning, you are not really changing, because you are just not doing good, because you are concerned about that possible punishment and that image of hell that we still have in our mind. But once we really understand the benefits of doing good, and just understand the concept that that's what I have to do, and then it will come out automatically. You
Yeah.
start to do good because you become a good person, not because you are worried about the possible punishments. And then that's the stage when we will come here and not speaking about punishment anymore, because we will be a different person, different spirits at that time. We are more thinking about the rewards and the benefits that we can get. That's very interesting.
Got to the point that when we do bad, anytime we feel bad.
Yeah.
When you do good, we feel good. And from that point on, we should learn the lesson. I'm going to
Yeah.
keep doing good all the time. But why we keep on doing bad? Why are we doing this? We're hurting ourselves.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why are we doing this?
We are hurting much more ourselves than the others.
But yeah, but we're still in a point where we try to rationalize why doing bad is okay.
Yeah, it's selfishness.
Yeah,
Ignorance.
that's where the selfishness comes. That's where the pride comes, right? Because again, sometimes today, like we know, I can't do this because it's not good. But in your mind is gonna tweak it around because you justify to yourself consciously why that may be okay for you to do something that's bad. You try to like fake it to yourself.
Find an excuse.
Yeah, it's like the typical excuses.
Justify.
Right? And then your mind's going to trick you into, for example, I know I cannot speed. I know. Speed's dangerous. But you know what? If I go just 20% above, I don't think anything bad's going to happen. Cops are not going to give me a ticket. I'm still very much in control. Your mind is tricking you, right? And now you just justified that you actually can speed. You just cheated yourself, right? That's, of course, this is something very simple. Of course, it's like a very routine kind of casual situation. But in every situation in life, we'll do the same, right? For example, I have to help someone in the street. I know I have. It's my conscience. Like I know I have to do good. Someone just fell on the sidewalk, for example, or someone needs help, right? I'm late to work. So now you start to trick yourself again. Well, I know I have to do something, but maybe I just wait a few seconds, someone else will do it. Then I automatically, see, your conscience again, keeps you off of your responsibilities, right? And then you're like, but if I do stop, then I'll be late. Then, because I'm late, then I don't need to stop, right? So basically what I do, I just like walk beside and look to another place. So maybe people will think that I did not see that. So now you walk out free. At least you think, right? Your conscience is free again. Because you created a list of rationalized excuses for you to do bad things. And that's what's so hard for us to get rid of. It's not knowing, we know bad is bad and good is good. We're already at that stage, right? But we fake it to ourselves because of our pride, because of our selfishness, because of a list of our vices. We still have this enormous difficulty to do the right things. And because we do have that difficulty, so we create this alter reality to support our bad behavior. Just like kids.
Everybody's doing it.
And yeah, exactly. That's another good one. Say, like everyone's doing this, so that's okay.
That's good. That's
You know.
good. Marcio just called us old people. Now you're calling us young.
We're
Not the
old
same.
kids. We're
Not
old
the
kids.
same.
I was going to say that
Thank you.
I think we do bad because we all are all kids still.
Yeah.
We're in a learning
Yeah.
process, and we're very much a little kid. We just can't see that. What I liked about this presentation, which by the way was really nice, you're improving your presentations, I was gonna say that, is the perspective that you brought, at least to me, about what we get is what we can get right now, what we're able to receive. I was watching these, the Bible, the series. There was so much violence, and I was like, I don't want to watch this. But it's such a nice series. I don't know if you have a chance to see, talking about the Bible stories. It's really nice. But the lessons that Jesus gave was through a lot of violence. And I was like, I can't understand that. I stopped watching. And today, as you said, that's the way he could give us lessons, and that's the way we can learn. And looking now, as you say, we know that killing is not good, but at that time it was just normal.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the reason I didn't want to watch that was because it's not right for me. And as you said, in the future, we're all going to be much more proud of ourselves, let's say, or happy with the goodies that we're gonna get. So we do bad because we're in this state of life and we have to reach here. But it was worse. We did much more worse than we're doing now. So I think the lesson got me hope.
And now we
a
are
big
having a
perspective.
chance to have this understanding that we
Yeah.
didn't have in the past. right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So although we're gonna keep still failing a lot because we're not there yet,
Yeah.
but now we have an understanding about our consequences. So we have the chance at least to try harder.
And it's like we're doing
Yeah.
bad, but we're doing much better.
Yeah.
That's the summary.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Positive,
Another question or comment?
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Marcio, thank you very much for your words. Actually, I agree with Katarina. I think we're all improving in life, and this is another. I'm glad you didn't change your presentation because it was excellent. Now with this, keeping these thoughts in our minds of, not only thinking about the punishment as Marcio put so well in his lecture, but thinking about how much room we have to improve. That's what the aspect that I always like to see. And not only thinking on how bad we are, but thinking about how good we can be. So, it's just like saying in Spiritism, we're not against anything, we're in favor of a lot of things, right? So we're in favor of loving, we're in favor of, being better and more helpful to others. So keeping all that in our minds, we're gonna have our passes now. So passes are this transfusion of good energies, basically. And during that time, we're aided by spiritual friends, blessed by our Master Jesus. They're going to be all working together with us in order to make this a very positive experience for all of us. So we're going to have it started now. I'll just do a little prayer before we start, and let us all get the lights off. So at this moment, we're going to ask for the blessings of our Master Jesus and all the spiritual friends present here today that could help us in this process of helping each other, of transfusing good energies and vibrations between us. And maybe start this day by doing this action of love. May God bless us. My dear brothers and sisters, let us now unite our thoughts with the beating of our hearts and the music that is slowly playing through our ears. Let us, with our eyes closed, imagine the beautiful, loving energy flowing from within Jesus' heart, flowing through all the parts of this place and touching the forehead of each one of us. And as it does that, it connects us with this bright, beautiful light that expands through all the parts of our bodies. And we can feel at this moment this nice peace and tranquility that falls along our chest, our arms, our legs, bringing us more and more into peace, calming our hearts and our breathing, and moving us into the state of relaxation. Connecting to this source and thinking about God, our Father, Mother, Creator. Let us give thanks to this moment, to the opportunity we had to learn these new lessons, the opportunity we had to plant one more seed in this beautiful garden that is flourishing within ourselves. Let us continue to drop the water necessary for the seeds of love, repentance, and reparation to continue to flourish within ourselves. Maybe one day, soon, our garden will be full blown. And the scents of the fresh flowers will be coming through our minds and through every pore of our bodies. And we also thank for our spiritual mentors and friends present here today. So many of them come in need of help, and so many others coming to enlighten us with their thoughts. We also ask you, God, that you can still infuse into us the energy and the strength and the courage to continue this pathway of evolution, blessing our lives, giving us the understanding so we can go through the difficulties that are coming, and may we all learn from them. We ask you, God, to protect our places, our houses, and our families. And not only that, but all the other ones who don't have others to pray for them. All the many others who don't have a place to stay, or no family to share. We ask you, God, to give us the healthy, living body that we have, protecting us from other vicissitudes in life. But we also ask you, God, to protect all those who are in hospitals, suffering the many consequences of their physical ills. And at last, We ask you, God, to protect this place. This house that is full blown of love. And receives all of us today in order to share here the basic principle of charity and love that we learn from the lessons that come from Jesus. May we all step outside those doors with the same strong feelings of love that we have right now, of peace. And may we all be able to share that with all the other people that really need it. Thank you, Lord. And may we all go in peace. So be it. All right, back we are again. So, thank you all for coming one more time. It's so nice to see new faces. So nice to see old faces, like Marcio said, which I probably qualify for. I don't know.
Yeah, very old one.
Maybe old one. Like Angelo was concerned. Yeah, we're the old faces, Angelo, sorry. Yeah, I have to say that. I would like to say we're old babies then, probably. But just to remind you guys of our activities, so we'll continue to have the book studies on Wednesday nights. And by the way, everything is online, and I thank you all the viewers that are following us through our webcast. And it's very important to us to have now all connected. We're all going to this webcast novelty for us, which is interesting. So if you guys can't come one day, you can go to www.torontospiritsociety.org and click on live, and hopefully you should be able to see us and share your comments, ask questions, and participate in all our activities. Wednesday nights, the book study from 7 to 8 during the summertime. And we're almost done with the book study, 2 more weeks, and then after that we'll continue our series of studies on the basic books by Allan Kardec. On Thursday nights, 7 to 8:30 p.m., we'll continue to have our introduction to Spiritism and the study of the Spirit's book. And on Sundays, we have our public lectures from 12 to 1:30. And again, everything's webcast. We have Divaldo Franco coming to Toronto, and the date is
September 26th.
September 26th, and we have tickets available here, or you can actually buy online if you want. You can also check our website for more information. And we have Andrei Moreira coming on the
September
14th.
14th, 6 p.m. here.
On
14th of September here at 6 p.m. And all are welcome to come. And if you want more information, again, you can go into our website and have a look. And if you have questions, please drop us a line. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful Sunday, and may we all continue with this nice peace and love that we share here in this place. Thank you all.
Thank you.